Hello everyone, I'm Natasha Dominion, and I promised us a class a couple of days ago, almost a week ago, yeah, an online class, but then I couldn't hold that class due to some important reasons. And most of us were not going to be available. So I thought, why not make a video? Everyone can access a video anytime. It's going to be convenient for everybody. I'm sort of attending or being present in a class. So in this session, I'm going to be giving us tips on how to write a good book. Yeah, the title of the topic is Tips on How to Write a Good Book. All of these tips that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today are tips that I was able to carve out from my mistakes and all of my observations and things that I took into consideration while writing my book. Yes, like most of y'all know that I was a beginner. I started as a beginner, and even after undergoing training, there were a lot of things actually that weren't mentioned during training. So I had to go through these things myself and figure it out myself. So now I'll be sharing with you guys, and they're not just techniques or tips or tools that you should just know. I need you to apply them. I need you to apply them while writing, because they are blueprints and they were able to help me make over $1,000, more than $1,000 on that particular book that I wrote as a total beginner. The first tip to writing a good book is to keep a journal. Some people that I've had a one-on-one session with, and the first thing I always tell them, include in those conversations, is keep a journal. Always keep a journal. This journal is to capture ideas. It is where you will jot down specific ideas for your story. Well, you might not know which part of your book those particular ideas will fit into yet, but just writing them down will give you an edge, and it will always be at the back of your mind. So while writing, you remember that, I had this idea. This idea can actually form a particular scene in my story, or this idea can actually be included in this particular part of my story. Inspiration can strike at any given moment, probably while reading a book, while watching a movie, or while observing people. Just observing people, you can get inspired. I always have my journal with me. Eating, going out, working, ideas can come in, and once I do not put them down immediately, they are gone. So that's why I always have it with me. Whenever you think of anything, whenever you're watching a movie and then you see that, what this particular line or this statement said in this movie makes sense, and I like it, write it down. Or when someone does something and then you like how the person acted that part, you write it down. You're reading a book and then you read out a line, or let's just say an entire scene, and you like how it looked or how it was explained, you write it down. It's actually copying, but there's nothing new anymore. I mean, in the whole world, there's nothing new. Every single thing comes from one thing. Everybody is madly copying. You copy someone's stuff, but not verbatim. You're copying someone's idea doesn't mean you should copy and paste the way it is. You can use someone else's idea, transform it into yours. So after writing down all of these ideas, when it's time to flesh it out into a chapter, it will be of absolute use to you. So the next one is assign personalities to all of your characters. Assigning personalities to each of your characters will bring them to life. Remember, they are not real persons. So now giving them characteristics, personalities, will actually bring them to life and make them relatable, because readers actually connect to your characters more when they have personalities. For example, female lead is always really upset when someone bosses her around. There are a lot of people out there, like real persons out there, that do not like that. So when people like that read books that has characters with such personalities, the connection will be there. The connection will be evident. How do you build characters with personalities? First, start with physical traits like the eye color, hair color, skin color, scars, tattoos, and so on. Then the next one is mannerism. So what exactly is mannerism? Do your characters have a lisp while talking? Do they always bite their lip whenever they are anxious, they are angry, or they are nervous? Just like, I don't know who has seen Twilight, Bella Swan, she's always biting off her lip whenever she's angry, she's anxious, she's nervous, she's scared. She's always biting off her lip. That's a mannerism. If you see someone actually portraying that online and they just write without captioning at all, that picture of Bella Swan will come to your mind, and this is what she does, because the the author of that story was able to give that character a personality, and that's why you're able to connect with the character. The next one is voice. Each of your character needs to have a voice, different voices at that. There's no two persons in this world that sound alike. It's not possible. It's never possible. Everybody with their different voices, everybody with their different facial features and all. So that's what your characters need to also look like. That's what you need to do to all of your characters. Give your characters quirks or habits that are unforgettable. Is it your male lead that is there's no time he will not smoke. Every given minute that he has, he's always smoking a cigarette. The habit. Or every minute he has, he's always shouting, damn. There are some real people that actually do that. Baladito or Kazo. Different exclamations. Just make sure you give your character a habit. Now the next one is flashback. So I might not be able to explain every single thing, give more examples. I might not be able to give you detailed explanation and list of how to use flashbacks, and even how to assign personalities to your characters, and even how to journal properly, what to journal. So I've created a complete book. It's the step-by-step guide on how to write a good book. It is called 10 tips to writing a good book. There are actually 10 very detailed tips on how to write a good book. They were the tips or the blueprints that I used in writing my book that was able to make me well over $1,000+ in a space of 4 months. And so in this particular book, it was detailed. I took my time to write a detailed book, giving critical examples and also activities that you can use to practice before you actually dive into writing your own book. So the next tip is end every chapter with a cliffhanger. This is the best or one of the best ways to keep your readers hooked to your book. Ending every chapter with a cliffhanger. Now, what is a cliffhanger? Cliffhanger is referred to an unresolved moment in your story that piques at your reader's interest, creating curiosity to know what happens next, leading them to flip over to the next chapter to find out. You see, this particular tool or tip is always applied in series. Now, there are different types of cliffhangers. There are action cliffhangers, emotional, revelation, and so on. All of these cliffhangers are explained in detail with examples and activities on how to apply them in my 10 tips to writing a good book. How to write an effective cliffhanger. The first one is leave unanswered questions. In the 10 tips to writing a good book, there's something I call a mystery. A mystery is something that is unresolved. An unanswered question is an action that creates question in the mind of your readers. It's an active way to pull your reader to the next chapter. What happens next? Why didn't she just run away? Why didn't she just squat? It would have been easy for her to keep running without looking back. Do you have to look back when you're being chased? You could have just, one single second for you to have dodged. It would have taken you nothing to just jump over. Can't you just jump? Why didn't she just jump? An unanswered question. Okay, she has jumped. She was hit. What happens next? Okay, fine, she looked back and she's been caught. What happens next? Then the next one is introducing a twist. I know most of you all who attended my first class where I taught plot twists. I extensively taught plot twists, giving you the types of plot twist examples and how to apply them. There are a few types of plot twists that weren't mentioned in that class because I reserved them for my book, The Power of Plot Twists. Yes, there's a book that I'm currently writing, unpublished. It's called The Power of Plot Twists. It's going to teach you the different types of plot twists, how to apply them, where to apply them, and even how to identify them. Yeah, that's the most important part. How to identify a plot twist and how to execute one. Yeah, The Power of Plot Twists. So if you want to be able to write a good book, the 10 tips to writing a good book can write you a good book. Yeah, it can. But then, if you want to know more, if you want to be a pro, if you want to be able to write more books, if you want to be able to blow your reader's mind with your writing, I think you should also purchase The Power of Plot Twists. Now, how do you introduce a plot twist? This is changing the narrative, but not entirely. Your readers are expecting, okay, it's a white girl running away from a zombie. Yeah, I get it. White girls, they're always like running here, running 2 minutes and then looking back. Yeah, it's normal in white movies. So we that are watching, the viewers, are like, she's gonna get caught. There's no way she's not gonna get caught. And then at the end of the day, she stops, turns around, brings out a rifle, and then starts shooting at this. We are shocked because how the hell did she get that rifle? Where was it all along? And we expected her to get caught because her legs are short, of course, and she wasn't running really fast. And also, she was always looking back. So we thought the zombie would have, caught up to her already. but then they shocked us. They kind of like changed the narrative that we've already pictured in our mind, and then giving us an unexpected turn. But at the end of the day, we didn't drop the book because it was boring. No, because that actually want us to know more. Like, okay, fine, if this writer can actually shock us, or this movie can actually shock us like this, what will happen next in the following chapter? What will happen to this other character? So what I was thinking, or what I was probably thinking, didn't happen. So what I've been thinking about the other characters too might not happen. We want them to go into the next chapter, creating a twist. The last one is the use of internal monologue. This is my favorite. I love using internal monologue a lot. But then you need to be able to balance internal monologue and dialogue. These are very important. Both of them are important. If you overuse one, it gets boring. So you need to be able to balance the both of them. You see, stories aren't just about how your characters experience events, but also about their thoughts, their emotion, and the motivation they feel combined. And with this particular element or tool, your readers will be able to connect with your characters on a whole new different level. What do we call internal monologue? Their unspoken thoughts, ideas, desires, feelings that your characters don't say out. Other characters in your story don't really know what the other characters actually feeling inside. Only the readers are able to connect with that character because we can actually see what they feel in. Internal monologue are unspoken words that run in the mind of your characters. It is the gap between what your character says and what they mean and feel. So for example, if someone asks your character, "How are you?" and he or she says, "Oh, I'm fine," but then you go on to explain in the internal monologue, "How can I be fine after I just lost my house, my car, and my life is in shambles, and I'm owing over so amount of money?" Internal monologue. Your readers now understand why this character is acting weird towards the other character, but then what she actually says out is actually different from what she feels inside. Also, you need to be able to use this particular element, internal monologue, minimally so you don't bore your readers. First, the dialogue, the conversation needs to keep flowing, but in between you need to add internal monologue so the readers can understand what the characters are feeling inside during those conversations. Do you understand? Well, if you do not understand, that is more reason why you should get my 10 tips to writing a good book, because in this particular book, every single thing is in detail with examples and also activities that will help you practice and get good at this. Every single thing you need to know is written here. So if you're interested in getting this book, go down to my Instagram, click the link in my bio. You're going to see the link, tips to get a good book. Click on it, get registered to get your own copy.